Hi, it's Nikki here and I'm back with another Ask an Editor, and today I just wanted to talk very briefly about some common writer mistakes. Now, I should say straight off the bat that I'm using the word mistakes very loosely. Writing is a very personal thing. Of course there are certain grammar conventions that hold true, but tastes change over time. Things that we used to do 50 years ago have become obsolete now, and the things that I'm quoting as mistakes are simply things that in the current era go against the general preferences in the writing profession, in particular in terms of publisher expectations. So, first of all, you're going to want to avoid too many filler words. I've mentioned filler words before in videos about giving your language punch. These are things like very, fairly, a little bit, just those sort of words that end up slipping in there and they don't really add anything to the story. You know, the thing I always say when looking for filler words is read the sentence aloud and see if it makes sense without the word, and if it does, then you probably don't need it. And if possible, you'd maybe change the verb or get rid of the adverb and put a verb in its place in order to just give yourself something more definite, more definitive for what you're trying to get across to the reader. Another thing that we should consider in this area is comma splices. Now, comma splices are a mistake, I would say. Like, having just said, I don't mean they're mistakes. This is a grammar issue. This is when you have a sentence where you have two clauses and they just run into each other with just a comma. Well, sometimes they're a run-on sentence if they run into each other with no punctuation. If you have a comma in there, it's a comma splice. And it's incorrect because you've got two separate statements and they shouldn't be. They need a more definitive intervention between them, shall we say. So you can, example, you can say something like, Nicola started a new book, comma, she had already finished the other. Now, you've got Nicola started the new book is one statement. She had already finished the other is a second statement. And just putting a comma in between them doesn't work. You've got a few options here. You can put a semicolon, although a lot of publishers these days seem to dislike the semicolon for some reason. So if you can't do that, you can put a full stop and have a new sentence. Or you can use a conjunction. So then you'd say something like, Nicola started a new book since she had already finished the other. So that's just something to watch out for. You know, read your sentences aloud to yourself. I find that a really good practice as I'm editing my own work, just to see whether it's really a single comment or whether you've got these two separate clauses that you need to split apart in some manner. A few other things that we can consider. Repetition, obviously. Repetition of filler words in particular is a prevalent thing that I come across as I'm editing people's manuscripts, but often authors may have their own particular words that they come back to again and again. Perhaps all their characters walk everywhere, or maybe they whisper everything or smile all the time. And it doesn't mean you can't use these words ever, but you just want to be aware, maybe do a find and highlight and see how often they're appearing in a single page, particularly in a single paragraph, and take a few of them out. And often there's synonyms, so you know, maybe instead of smiling he grins every now and again, or maybe instead of walking he strides if he's being purposeful, or he ambles if he's just having a little saunter around the park. All these things are going to help to tighten your prose and just really bring a great deal more punch to your story and engage the readers more efficiently and effectively. So that's just 3 little points for you today. I hope you found them useful. If there's something in terms of editing that you'd really like me to elaborate on for you, any tips you'd like me to provide, pop them in the comments and I'll do my best to make the videos for you. But for now, I'll leave you until next month. Goodbye.